Hey folks, welcome back to Major Diesel. Hey, we've got, I was in town yesterday, and Victor told me he had a couple chains here that didn't have any hooks on them. You see, he's been tying knots in them. Knots in a chain don't work very good. It's better to have proper hooks. So I went into and I got the hooks. This is 5/16 chain. I got a 5/16 grab hook, and I got a 5/16 slip hook. The grab hook here, see how they work? You slide it over the link of the chain and the chain can't slide through it. It holds onto it. And that works good to hook two chains together. Works really good for a lot of things. And a grab hook will fit over a 5/16 grab hook will fit over a 5/16 plate. And a lot of the loader equipment is made with 5/16 plate. You just slide the hook over it and it hangs the chain on it. Saves length of the chain. But there are times when you want a chain. This end of the chain still has a hook on it. When you want the chain to choke up on something, that is, you put the chain through a slip hook. Now I wrap it around my arm and I pull it tight, and it's going to pull, it's going to grab. It's just going to keep on grabbing until it pulls whatever it's pulling. You're pulling skidding logs, you're lifting something that you want to pull tight. A slip hook is nice. So we make chains up usually with a slip hook on one end. This chain came new with a slip hook on this end because it's a welded eye slip hook. It's part of the chain. It was made into the chain. Now this slip hook that I got here has a clevis with a pin. And we'll use that clevis with a pin on our one chain here. But right now we're going to put this 5/16 grab hook on the other end of this chain. So one end of the chain has a grab and one has a slip hook. So just put it in like that. Now you want the end that has a head on the pin, you want to put next to the side that you're going to grab the chain with, so it doesn't, so the loose ends of your cotter key don't get grabbed on the chain when you're dragging it. So on the back side here, part of the chain that's not going to touch things, you put your cotter key in there. And when you put a cotter key on a chain, there's a certain way to do it. There. Straighten out the cotter key. It was just a little bit too open to get it into the hole. But you want a cotter key to be just a wee bit open when you're using them so that you can get a hold of the loose ends to bend it back. Now when you bend back the cotter key, kind of hard. You got a loose pin here. I got a vise here. That makes it helpful. I put the head of the pin into the vise. There we go. Put the head of the pin in the vise, and then the pin won't turn around and around. That makes it a lot easier. Because now what you want to do is wrap the ends of the cotter key back around the pin so that they are not sticking out in the wind, going to get caught on anything. And it takes a lot of effort to pull that cotter key out of there then. Because your chain usually gets beat up, gets thrown in the back of a truck, dragged around the floor of the tractor cab, dragged over the tailgate, dragged around in the brush when you're hooking it up to a log. Chains take a lot of abuse. Those little cotter keys, if the end of the cotter key there is sticking out at all, it'll catch on something, it'll pull the cotter key out, and then you lose your hook. And I mean, those hooks cost, what did you say, $28 a piece, I think it was. Something like that. They're not cheap. So now we have a chain with a grab hook on one end. It'll grab into the chain, and a slip hook on the other end that can slide through it. So you can use the slip hook end to grab onto a log or a post or something, and take the grab hook end and grab the hook onto a piece of metal on the side of the loader, lift it. Or you can take the grab hook and wrap around something, and you know that it's not going to come off when you got it hooked because it's stuck into the chain. So we have that chain. Now I already put a new grab hook on the end of this chain. This one's a bit longer. And this is a long link chain. Look at the difference in the size of the links compared to the other one. They're both 5/16 chain. 5/16 stands for the diameter of rod that was used to make the links. But standard chain, the links are the size of this one. And this one here is called long link chain. But one problem with long link chain is that unless you get high tensile transport chain, long link chain like this has a tendency to stretch. If you look at this one, there's quite a few stretched places in it. In fact, where I put this new hook on, I'm going to take this new hook off and take a couple of links out of this chain because I didn't notice when I put the hook on. Now this is the other chain. This is the long link chain. I did the short link chain already. It has 2 hooks on it. It's done. This one here, put it in place. Why not? There we go. This chain has a problem, and I'll show you here in a minute. Oh, get the cotter pin out. Now that looks like a nice link on the chain, right? Now let's go about 6 or 8 inches down the chain. The chain weld came apart. So the chain link is ready to fall off. So this is an interesting thing with a chain. You can grip a link in the vise, and the link that's right next to it will be laying nice and flat and open. And now I need a punch. Here we go. Punch and a hammer. So now I'll take this punch and hammer here. Stretch the link. There we go. Now, where that broken link was, it'll come right off the chain, hopefully. Oh, it doesn't. Might need to stretch it some more. Oh, I see. I'm taking off the wrong one. So I need to take and stretch this one. Let's see here. Put it out past the end is better, because then my punch won't get stuck in the vise. There we go. And that wasted little piece of chain, it'll be handy for something. Now, the link that I want to put the hook into also needs to be stretched out. So let's stretch it a bit before I put the hook on. There we go. And you put the head of the thing into that side of the hook. The hook through. And now put the head of the pin in the vise. There. Now I can put the cotter key into the pin. And with the head of the pin caught in the vise, the pin can't spin, so I can easily wrap the ends of the cotter key around the pin. One thing you want to be careful with when you're doing a cotter key, you don't mess up the round loop on the end of the cotter key, and that you tighten up the cotter key enough that the round loop is tight on the other side. And you don't want the tail ends of the cutter key to go out past the end of the pin where they get hooked on things either. There we go. Got that one done up there nice. Nice grab hook on the end of that chain. And it grabs on long length chain just as good as it grabs on the short length chain. Now we have to make the link at the end of the other end big enough, and then we're going to put that slip hook on the other end of this one. Okay. See, when a cotter pin comes, they don't bend them the whole way around. They just bend them a little bit so that you don't wear them out by bending them too much before you actually put them on. Okay. Okay. Yep, goes right through. Good show. And the new slip hooks even come with a safety catch. The safety catches are oftentimes trouble. I oftentimes just take them off, grind off the end of this rivet. You can take the safety catch out of there. Used to be slip hooks didn't even have a place to put a safety catch. But it's come to the point where it's mandatory that they have to make a little eye in the inside of a slip hook so that you can put a safety catch on it. So then they just sell new ones with safety catches. Well, I guess I didn't quite get finished up with the chain video because my camera card got filled up on me. But yeah, the chain that had the long links, and I put a grab hook on one end and a slip hook on the other. That chain was 10 feet long. The other shorter one, which is the first one I did on the video, was only 6 feet long. So the shorter chain was a little bit stronger chain. That was transport chain. The links on it didn't stretch, as I pointed out, whereas the long link chain was a softer grade of chain. It stretched a little bit, but it's still going to work out good for using to keep in the tractor cab for lifting small things. Maybe even for pulling posts or dragging logs and things like that. But yeah, so both of the chains have a slip hook and a grab hook on them. They're both 5/16 chain, and I had picked up another hook that was a grab hook for a 3/8 chain, and I hung that on the wall in the shop. We have a 3/8 chain, but it has hooks on it already. Longer chain. 5/16 chain you want to keep around for lifting small things and little handy jobs, but you don't really want to pull anything bigger than a small car with it, or it stretches the links or breaks them. A 3/8 chain is the right size to use for pulling. That's about all you can pull with a pickup or a 1-ton. If you get into pulling things with a cat, then you want to have 1/2 inch or 5/8 chain, which are bigger and heavier and clumsier. But yeah, so we have a 20-foot 3/8 chain that we use on the farm here. We have about 15 feet of 3/8 chain with no hooks on it that's connected with clevises onto our harrow bar, but sometimes we unhitch it and use it to extend our other 3/8 chain. And then we have the two 5/16 chains that I just put hooks on. And those are our handy little chains around the farm. Anyway, we'll be running into other little things that we do on the farm here. I hope you enjoyed this chain repair video, and stay tuned. There'll be more farm videos to come. Thanks for watching.